Good morning, children. Today we are about to start chapter number 2 of Flamingo book. That is Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood by Anis Jung. Anis Jung was born in 1964 in Rourkela and received her education in Hyderabad and in USA. In this lesson, she has depicted the grinding poverty and other traditions which exploit the life of the children living under poverty line. And poverty is a curse, and here it would become clear that it is too difficult to think in a proper way when one only thinks of earning her living or his living. This chapter has been divided into two parts. First, under the heading, Sometimes I Find Rupee in Garbage, and the second, under the heading, I Want to Drive a Car. These are two dialogues spoken by two poverty stricken children. Stories are different, characters are different, but theme is common. First theme is poverty, and the other theme is child labor. If we see the title, that is Lost Spring, spring here means childhood. Childhood is the time when children see new things, learn new things, discover their talent. Similarly, as in spring season, new flowers come. They blossom and bloom. In first part of this chapter, the main character is Sahib, who finds things from the garbage. He does not attend any school, and when author asks that why didn't he go to school, then he said that he would attend the school if she would build it. The writer agreed to build it. When the next time he met with the author and asked whether he had built it, the author felt blushed, ashamed, feeling that such false promises are usually made to these children which are never fulfilled. Then she asked the name of the child. He told his name to be Sahib Alam, which means Lord of the Universe, though he was unaware of its meaning. He roams in the streets with his friends barefoot. She asked them why they don't wear slippers. One child answered that his mother had not brought it for him. The other replied that he would throw them even if her mother would bring it for him, as he was wearing shoes which didn't match. And then, due to shame, he started shuffling his feet. And the third one said, although he wanted shoes, but he had never owned a pair all his life. One explained that it was their tradition to remain barefoot. These children are so innocent that they are trying to justify their poverty through these silly examples that it is their tradition to stay barefoot. Hearing this, Anis remembered one story of a young boy who, while passing the temple, prayed to have a pair of shoes. His father was a priest in the same temple, and when 30 years later she went there, she saw the new priest and a young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and the shoes, which shows that the pair of other boy who wanted to own shoes had been heard by the goddess, as the children of priests now after 30 years had got shoes. Now the author is telling about Sahib that his family belonged to Dhaka, but their homes and fields were swept away by the storms. Then they decided to shift in Simapuri, located in Delhi, in search of new jobs. Food is so important for them that even they had ration cards, but not for identity, but to have cheap food from the government. Now, author tells that garbage picking is like a treasure hunt for these children, and she says for elders it is their means of survival, but for children it's wrapped in wonder. So, means of earning for children and wonder for means of earning for the parents and wonder for children as new things they find while searching in the garbage. I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note, Sahib told the author. One morning, the narrator saw Sahib standing by the gate of the club, watching the game of the tennis. He told the author that even he sometimes gets inside and enjoy there. He was also wearing the discarded shoes with a hole of some rich boy. He wanted to play inside, but having discarded shoes for him was like a dream that had come true, but the game of tennis was beyond his reach. And after some time, author saw Sahib, but he was not having carefree look now. He was having a steel canister that seemed heavier than the plastic bag which he carried so lightly over his shoulder. He now was getting 100 rupees and also all his meals, but now he was not his own master. He was working at a tea stall and working for someone else, and so his childhood had been lost as he had lost his carefree life. So, this was the first part. Now, let us understand the second part of the chapter, and this starts with the dialogue I want to drive a car. Here, the main character is Mukesh, who wanted to drive a car. His family lived in Firozabad, and his family earned his living by making bangles. Except bangles, they were unaware about any other skill. While making bangles, they had to work in extreme conditions, and Mukesh, along with his family, too worked in severe conditions. He worked in darkness or dim light. In fact, all the people had lost their eyesight while working continuously at dim places. About 20,000 children worked there in glass furnaces with high temperatures, in dark cells without air and light. Then Mukesh took the author to his home and they had to walk down the stinking means unpleasant lanes, and the stinking lanes chalked with garbage. Their homes were like hovels means dirty house with weak walls, weak doors and weak windows. Humans as well as animals existence was at the same place. Then the author and the Mukesh entered the half built shack. Shack means roughly built hut. On the ground, in large platters, are chopped vegetables. A weak young woman was cooking meal for the whole family. She was the wife of Mukesh's elder brother and in charge of three men, that is, her husband, Mukesh, and their father. Mukesh's grandmother told the author that she had seen her husband going blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. Spirals of bangles could be seen on four-wheeled handcarts pushed by the young men in the narrow lanes. Then she saw a girl named Savita who was too making bangles alongside an elderly woman. She wondered if Savita knew the sanctity of bangles. Sanctity means holy, pavitrata of bangles, which represents the symbol of Indian women's suhag in marriage. She would understand it when one day she would become a bride with red veil on her head, henna on her hands, and the bridal bangles rolled onto her wrists, like the old women sitting beside her. The old woman had still the bangles on her wrist, but there was no light in her eyes. Even she said, with no light in her eyes, एक वक्त पेट भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. Her husband told that he had made a home for the family and he had achieved what many others had failed, a roof overhead. And every family had no money to do anything except carry on to make bangles. They had killed all their initiative and ability to reign. Then author asked them that why had they not made any organization or cooperatives? Then the people answered that if they would try, then keepers of law like sahukars, middlemen, policemen, politicians would not allow them and they would be beaten by police and put into the jails. These people had together enforced the child with this baggage which he could not put down and accept everything naturally. Even they had never tried to think anything else, as there was no leader among them. But the author saw a ray of hope in the eyes of Mukesh, who wanted to become a motor mechanic. Even the garage is far away, but he wanted to go there by walking. And he was quite practical, as when the author asked him if he wanted to fly a plane, he denied, as he was satisfied with the dream of cars, as he was quite practical. Thus, here ends the chapter. Thus, the author says, although the life of both is different, but the theme is same, that is, poverty and the child labor. And one thing is quite clear here, that childhood never lasts, but everyone deserves one. And childhood is that wonderful time of life which all you need. So, thank you and have a nice day.